Welcome back to the show. It's still Good Morning, Anambra on ABS TV, and we are at the other side. Okay, so we have a topic of discussion this morning. Now we'll be looking at preparing for school reopening. Of course, it's September and the holidays are over. Some schools have already started, but major schools, as in more schools, will resume next week. Monday. So we are here to talk about school resumption. What are the things that the parents need to do now? How are they going to prepare their children before they go back to school? And what are we expecting from our teachers, owners of schools, and principals? Of course, we have seen a whole lot of things going viral, hiking school fees and all that. Considering what we have, the economic situation in the country, how will parents cope this time around? These and many more are what we'll be discussing this morning on Good Morning, Anambra. And I still have Ajulo with me, seated in the studio this morning. Ajulo.
Chidima.
This is why you're sounding so low. What's going on?
School fees.
School fees. Okay.
Good morning, India Anambra. Well,
all right.
I believe we'll definitely make a contribution to this topic this morning because it is very, very important. Since education is very, very important, and the legacy, every parent should live for his words, and that's what we're here to talk about. Just sit back, relax, and listen.
Okay. We have as guest this morning Oni Edokwe. Oni is a coordinator, Young Couples Forum. Glad to have you.
Thank you, Chidima. Thank you very much. I'm so glad to be here. I'm so happy about this topic.
Okay.
It's very necessary.
Of course, I know this is the kind of topics that you like. And we also have Uchenna Abwafo. Okay, I hope I got it correctly.
Yes.
Okay, Education Officer, Quality Assurance Department of Asobeb. Glad to have you here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Glad to see you too.
Okay, AJ, just like I said earlier, you sounded very low. I wouldn't know what actually is the problem. You now say school fees. What about school fees?
Yeah, school fees. Sometimes, let me come to the education officer here on quality. I want to know what regulation, you understand, the Ministry of Education has to do with private school owners, because they seem to increase fees, without proper checks. And you begin to wonder, is it based on the economy or is it based on the standard they think that they are giving? And who monitors to know the quality of teachers and the curriculum in such schools? Please, I want a little delve into that. Let us begin with that.
I bet this question has been in his mind for a very long time, and today he has seen the person that you asked the question. So please, oblige him.
Okay, good morning. So, based on that question that you just asked, I think the state government is doing their own, they are trying to checkmate on the private school owners. But this is Nigeria. It's private school. The proprietors and the proprietors, they own their schools. They employ their teachers. They manage everything on their own. I think you cannot dictate to them the amount that they are going to their students or their pupils are going to pay, because they're on their own, they pay their teachers, they manage their schools. So there is a limit.
To government intervention into that.
As far as government, as far as they have met up with the government proposals or government this thing, at least they have their own, they're free.
Okay, so to some extent, what you're saying is that jurisdiction, the government just have that jurisdiction in government-owned schools, like to regulate how much the students will pay.
Yes.
But when it comes to private, it's left for the proprietors to decide what they want to pay.
Yes.
Okay, and it's left for the parents to decide if you want to take your child to a particular school.
You are free to make that
choice. But then again, he asks another question. What about what is being taught there, the quality of education there, what is contained in the curriculum? Do they make use of what the curriculum that the government-owned school make use of?
My dear, if it comes to that question, I will tell you that when it comes to private schools, there are a lot of levels of private schools, depending on the one that you take your child to.
Okay.
There are some private schools, many of them, they do use the same scheme of work that a public school do use.
Okay.
Now, there are some, these mushroom schools, those you can see under Dekins, under Bacha, and so on and so forth. It's left for we parents to decide. At least, if you look at a school, you will know. And you suppose, you have every right to look into what is going on in a school where your child is. You look at their scheme of work, you look at what is going on there, the type of teachers you meet there. It is also our duty as parents. And government also, they are trying. Sometimes they will go to the schools, those approved schools, those that have been approved by the government, they do checkmate them. But if you look at all these mushroom ones, those that are hiding, it's where you can see such things.
Okay, there are schools that are hiding.
Yes, a lot of them.
Now, it's a very good thing that we are talking about this thing now when school is about to open, you understand? There are some schools that don't even fit, you understand? They are not fit enough for kids to be there. But the fact that the parents don't have the money to take them to the ones that they feel is conducive, they will take them to those schools. So I believe it's the responsibility of government to clamp down on those mushroom schools, like the one you said that are hiding. So what's government doing about that? Sometime
last year, I think our governor fished many of them out. I think sometime last year, about 200 and...
200 and...
I'm telling you, more than safe. He fished them out. Some started running about to make up. So if you see such schools, I think it's the first of the parent, the fault on the parent side to take your child there. The money that you will pay there, you cannot even pay it to the public school. Take your child to public school where you are sure that we have qualified teachers. What are you going there to do on the first place?
Okay, thank you so much for that. To some extent, I still blame the parents, just like you said, because if the schools open and they don't have anybody to teach, they'll close down.
Yes.
So since they have parents that will bring their children or their wards there, of course, they will still flourishing. Yes, exactly. So let's come back to what we are talking about, preparing for school reopening. Onyi, now that we are about parents or students about to go back to school after the long vacation, what should be in the mind of every parent towards preparing their children to go back to school?
I don't know how to say this, but obviously I think you know what should be in the mind of every parent now.
We've started with the school fees, so I want you to remove that one. Take that one aside. Let's talk about other things. Yes.
Okay. The most important thing every parent should have in mind now is how to get the children readjusted. Because once it's long back, the pattern of doing things, the timetable, the freedoms, the restrictions change, and it's always difficult to get the children back to track. So you start by, like, I believe 2 weeks or 1 week to school resumption. Start preparing their mind. It's time to go back to school. Well, most of the time, these children, once they get back to, some of them fell sick because they find it difficult to readjust. You start, if assuming during school days, they always wake up by, let's say, 5:30 in the morning, and because it's holiday, we allow them to sleep till 6:30, 7. Because you know that school is going to resume very soon. Start preparing their mind. Let them go back. Probably come down, if it's not 5:30 again, maybe 6 o'clock. Start adjusting them. And then start talking about school. Where is your sandals? I hope it's okay. Where is your school bag? With that, you are preparing their mind that, see, holiday is over. And you parents, you start looking at the things that they need. Because you see, once that week or that day that school resume, you see parents running helter-skelter, and that will always take us to the hike in prices. Trust Nigerians, especially Igbos. Once there is rush in anything, the price will just skyrocket. So, but if you start on time, knowing, okay, so even before it's September, like what I do, once the long vac starts, I know that after this jollification in the Bodaya's language, definitely next month, we are going back to school. And if I don't start picking things, so as I'm going around the road, if you need canvas, I'll just be using my eyes to look at the things that they need. And if you start picking it small, like during the holiday, by the time they are resuming, you see that most of the things you've gathered most of the things. You now have to deal with the junk things. So, but what she asks is, how do we prepare? You start by preparing their mind, putting things in order. Even you as parents, start adjusting your programs to be able to fit in immediately. If there are things that you need to buy, start buying. Don't wait for everything to start, so that you start rushing and running helter-skelter.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's come back to you. Now, when we talk about this, I want us to go back a little bit when you talk about holidays, vacation. These are the periods that these students are sent back to their homes, especially the boarders and all those people, still the day students, they are sent back to home to go and relax, cool off their brains. But we have noticed that parents, they don't even want these children to stay at home. They will keep bombarding them with lessons, from one lesson to another. I mean, sometimes you even wonder, are these children really on vacation? Because every morning you still see them carrying their knapsack, everything. If you ask them, they tell you that they are going for lessons. And then no time to relax, no time to socialize, and no time to nothing again. Because I remember when we had long vacation, that's the time we decided to go out from our own home, visit our uncles, stay in uncle's house, and all that. But these days, the reverse is the case. Now, do you think that these children, that mentally they are really prepared to go? Because once it's long vac, you are moving into another class. You understand? Now, are they really prepared to take up that tax again mentally? Because they've been bombarded throughout the whole vacation period with a lot of teachings and all that. So they didn't have time to relax their minds and do other things they're supposed to do.
Well, they are ready. Just that holidays, during that vac, they just engage in summer lessons, like they said, the summer lessons. Many of them, it has become a pattern of life, their pattern of life, that from January to December, some little children have prepared their mind that I'm going to school from January to December. They don't have holidays, they don't have vacations, they don't excuse them from school. Everything is about school, 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 school. And it has been part of them, part of their life, part of their living, their style of life. So I think they're prepared. Some of them are prepared. Some are even tired, as you see now. Like just yesterday, I met one. When I was just coming out of my compound, I just met one. I said, where are you going? So I'm still going to lesson. I said, oh, okay, bye-bye. I said, Auntie, I'm tired. I'm tired. I just look at this little child. The way he said that I'm tired, it really touched me, showing that this person is tired of going to school. And we are resuming, school is almost resuming next week. He's tired of going to school. And another school is resuming next week. The real school is resuming next week. So if you look at it, I don't know how to start to explain to parents that everything is not about going to school, going to school, going to school. That child that is going to school from Monday to Friday, January to February, no vacation, no holidays, have you assessed if that learning is taking place in that child? At least, it's not only education that can make somebody to develop or grow. There are some other activities that a child is supposed to learn during holidays. Like Chidema said, you visit your uncles, you make friends, you learn some skills at home, you stay close to your parents. But I will tell you that one of the reasons why we parents, we don't allow our children to stay for holidays is we don't want them around us. They are disturbing us. Disturbing? Yes, that's disturbing us. Don't you know? They are disturbing us. You cannot stay with your children from morning till evening.
I can stay with mine. You
can stay with you. Oh, thank you. Some 90% cannot stay with their children from morning till evening.
I was expecting you to come up with economic reasons that most men or most women are out there chasing what the children will eat. But yes, saying that you can stay with your children.
What you're saying is part of it, but actually she's very, very correct.
I'm telling you.
Even recently, last week I was speaking with a mother. She said she cannot wait for her last baby to go into as in start school by this September. No, he'll be going to the hostel so that she'll be free. That she's tired of thinking of what to eat, drawing menu timetable.
Okay, the food they come and
No, not drawing many
he draws many
and
times.
in the morning she'll be thinking of what are they eating this morning. And actually, they are twin, and so the last babies, they are a boy and a girl. So she's like, I can't even wait for them to go back to school, to join others in school, so that I'll be free. So part of the reason is they don't want, as in those children.
Too much stress.
Too much that the children they have gotten used to, as in whisking them out in the morning. So staying with them now becomes a burden. What they don't know is that those that drew that school curriculum and created room for vacation, they are wise, because definitely there is time for you. That's the time for you to holiday is okay.
To bond with
bonding one, two, to assess that child.
Yeah.
I can tell you there are threats. There are some things that children are doing. You will never have to know unless
you stay with that child, very close to that child.
Very close to that child. And if you don't stay with that child very closely, if you don't spend that time with that child, you will not know. And probably by the time you get to know what is happening, it will be very late. So we have got. There's one thing about Nigerians, especially we Igbos. We like following the band wagon. When if your children if they don't go to summer lesson, it seems as if you don't have.
You are the poorest in the society.
All those things, there are a lot of things you can do. You can even teach them in your house. YouTube is okay. How to bake cake, play with them games. You'll be surprised how they'll become fond of you, even make them your friends. But no. And most often, okay, what you said about chasing money, if you're working class, they always advise you, especially the young mothers, fix your leave during the vacation.
Okay.
Fix your leave. That's the best time to take your leave in there as a mother. Fix your leave so that you have time for your children.
Stay close to them.
When they are traveling, most often travel with them. Because visiting uncles, you know the society we are in. Visiting aunties, you know the society where some things are happening. That's a topic for another day. Create room so that you get to know them. Except when it is very, very necessary. Because probably you're working in a bank or the nature of your job. It's not giving you, it won't give you time to stay with them. That is when that summer lesson is justifiable to an extent. But if you have time, I don't know why you're sending those little ones. They wake up in the morning by 5 a.m. They go to school. When I was in primary school, our school was dismissed by 12:30.
Well, we dismissed by 1:30.
12:30.
But these days you see children
6 o'clock,
4 o'clock.
And when
5
you come back,
o'clock.
you play and play. Only 2 times you can go to lesson the other street. By 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, you carry your book and be done. Even the lesson is playing.
Because part of education, as far as I know, you understand, was integration, social skills building. You understand, building social skills. Then the other part is now assimilating your ethics, your environment into you. But I don't know. You know, all my life I didn't go to.
That is one of the problems of the Nigerian system of education. Everything is theory. Those things that they learn in school, they're supposed to come home and practicalize them. And if you give them opportunity, I do tell some parents, I said, your child will be in school from the day school resumed to the day the school vacated for holidays. You allow the child to come back to your house and stay. At least in the morning, sweep the house. You watch that child. Maybe that person has been taught in the school how to sweep. You allow the child to practicalize what he learned in the school. You give them tasks and watch them to perform those tasks and know whether the money you are spending to pay their school fees, even if it is yielding any fruit at all. But you see, like I said, these parents, they will not allow them. In the morning, go to school at least. If I cook in the morning, you eat. I will put small thing in your lunchbox for you go out. I will have my peace.
Okay, that brings me to another question. I remember a joke someone made on one of the social media platforms one day. He just showed a drawing of where they said a child should trace caterpillar in biology. So the guy was like, now this is what they made me spend years in school because I don't know how to draw. Every time my teacher would be flogging me that I should trace the drawing of a caterpillar. Now, if they have, used that time to teach me 1 or 2 skills, I would have been a better person now. So why is it that in Nigeria, in our curriculum in schools these days, we find it difficult to have more of skills? With the way things are going now, if you ask me, 50% of what we have should be all about skills. But then again, we just feel like, I just go and read whatever it is they're doing. And our parents, like when we come back for holidays like this, instead of enrolling your child to go for a summer lesson, why not enroll him or her to go and learn one skill or the other? But we find it difficult to do that. As a parent, what's your opinion on this?
Honestly, what I was saying, we're just trying to say the same thing again because, okay, we already know that the school curriculum do not cover what you want. It has been one thing over the years, like something like garbage in, garbage out. It's all about theory. You kept on doing things that at the end of the day, you will not, as in, it will amount to nothing. You as a parent that had such experience, and you say that government or the school system is not about to change the narrative. What are you doing? Because honestly, the system, the society, the country, the nation we found ourselves in has gotten to the extent that to the level of you do the right thing within your capacity, your ability, and in your own circle, so long as it's the right thing. And it's because if you're waiting for the system to do it for you, you might have to wait till eternity. So when you have seen that those things are not changing, there's long back, there's meet and break, there's other holidays within the year, engage your child. Like now, state government, this state innovation, something solution innovation center. No, not the summit. They're having something for the children, for the adolescents. The computer session, they're doing things for the children there. But you can see parents will not even take their children to come and see what is happening inside there. And we keep blaming government. Even the ones that government will do will not want to engage in. So if the school system is not giving us what we want, changing the system, the narrative, you as a parent, if you have the opportunity, do your own. Send that, don't still take that, but that's what she said. Don't still take that child back to the school system again. Go to summer lesson. Engage her to go and learn a skill. How to sew, hairdressing. Let me tell you, those that are traveling abroad today, oh my God, if you can braid hair, go to Australia, you are made. Do you understand me? So equip that child. All this carpentry work, all this technical work that you are neglecting, that vulcanizers, all those they are no longer in the streets. There's dignity in level. Let your child go and learn it when they travel out of the country, because that's the in thing. They will do well. So allow school to do their own. Let's keep drawing caterpillars and intestine of cockroach. When we are done with it, when they come home, you channel another part for them, so that their knowledge will be balanced.
And even sometimes the teachers in the school, some who still have conscience, we give these children, we teach them some little skills and give them as project. Go home, maybe you teach them how to sew some stitches. Go home and do, yes, and making of beads or making of this local hand fan and so on. Go home and do this thing. Once they come home, the parents will go and pay another person to do it for them so that they will get 100%. Allow the child. Allow it, even if you just make mistake in doing all those things. Allow the child to do it, use his own hands and do that thing. Instead of paying another person, a professional, to come and do that thing for that child. That project is part of learning. So I blame parents 70%. I cast 70% blames on parents, because it's he who wears the shoe that knows where it pinches. You are the parents of that child. You know what you want your child to be. So you start early to nurture that child, to train that child, to groom that child, to become that thing. It's not every day going to school.
Well, we're still talking about holiday season and then children returning back to school, their mindset and everything that. But at the same time, I still believe there's a role for government to play. As an education officer and quality assurance, you understand, department of ASUBE, I want to know, the quality assurance you're talking about, is it what the teachers in schools are giving or the environment of where the children are coming to learn? Is that the quality assurance? Okay, both. Yes. And now, does that include the curriculum? Because we're talking about vocation here. If government stipulates that every long vac, 70% of what children come to school to do is vocational, I'm sure that most of these schools would definitely abide to that. Don't you think that's a way to go about so that we are building children that will be skill savvy to serve their generation?
I think this our governor is now coming to that that expectation. Like these holidays, a lot of trainings has been going on. Just last week, they organized like 3 days program for the head teachers. That's for primary school. Then for the principals of schools. So all these things are what they are trying to inculcate in them, so that when they go back to their schools, they should meet their teachers. The curriculum is already there, and all these things we are talking about, they are included in the curriculum. But the
you mean vocational?
I'm telling you.
For primary schools?
I'm telling you, it's there. They're there. At least they do agricultural science, they do home economics, and other ones. All these things are there.
Okay, please, let's know who's here. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Okay, if you want to contribute to what we are saying this morning, all you need to do is just to dial the number in front of your television set. Call us if you have any opinion, if you have anything to chip into our discussion today, you're free to do that. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so they are trying to bring back that practical part of education into the system. The problem is before the curriculum is there, all these things are included, but you know, you cannot do them without providing the materials needed for all those things. That is where the problem lies. They will just come to the class to teach. That teacher needed those materials. Cannot use his own personal salary to buy. Government should provide all those things. And when the teacher comes into the class and couldn't lay his or her hand on those things, what will she do? He will just teach the theory part of it and go.
Okay. Coming back to teachers, we are still talking about teachers because, of course, they are the people imparting knowledge on our children that we send to school. And then these are the same teachers that will still go back. The holiday, they themselves, they are not resting. You see that they are organizing, they are part of the summer lesson, or they have one business or the other to run. Of course, everybody wants to make ends meet and all that. So
schools will even make the summer lesson somehow compulsory.
Okay.
Yes.
So like, if you're not going to enroll your children for the summer lesson, you have to come to school and display or take permission or write the school.
Oh, okay. Has it gotten to that level?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the teachers, they are the people I'm talking about. Of course, everybody needs rest. And they still need to rest. They need to do some research, if you ask me, so that when they come back the next term, they'll come back with new ideas. And then they are rejuvenated. They have that vigor to go ahead. But you see them, most of them are even tired. And some of them, I have noticed that they enjoy their summer classes because of the extra pay.
If many of them, if they don't attend the summer lesson, they will not be paid for that month, especially in private schools. I'm telling you, most of them don't pay them on holidays.
Okay, now my question is,
yes. Something. As much as I know that these are private schools, they run their affairs, they pay their staffs, and government doesn't contribute much to them or anything to them. For the fact that these schools that are taking care of our children, they are grooming the young ones, they are into that school setting. It's a very sensitive and a very special sector of government, of the society. I think there should be regulation from government to check what they are doing. There should be to great extent to checkmate the things they do. Because you can't tell me if you work from month to month and you have to mandate a teacher to be part of the summer lesson, and by the time she's coming to the school, she's already fagged out. And just she will not be able to perform optimally. No problem. Another aspect of it is this idea of buying textbook. I was going to say it.
Well, when we come back from the street work, we'll definitely get to delve in more into preparing for our school reopening. I'll stay back. Let's go for street work. We'll be back soon.
yes, we are preparing because school is actually resuming on 18th September. Considering the economic meltdown in the country, you know that parents, they are finding it difficult, but actually students, the pupils and the students, they must go to school. So now some parents are buying exercise books, buying textbooks, some are changing their school uniforms because their child must look presentable while going to school in order to be able to compete with other students. You will not say that I don't have money when it comes to the children. It makes them look somehow and makes them look timid. So no matter how, you have to squeeze out 1 or 2 money to change their school uniform. If it is old, their sandals, if it's old, then their school bag. If you cannot buy new one, as a parent, you try to sew or amend the old ones that are using.
Na-akwado na ihe mere bụ na ebido akwụkwọ nke ọ bụ na oge eme ya ọnwụ na meji onye nji akwụọ agwa nte nkụzi ha nwee ndidi ụbọchị siri ike na maghị eje eji maka na na-akwụ ụgwọ akwa tụpụ ihe mmadụ na ọ bụrụ ọchịchị taa akwụkwọ 10 for 10 ọ bụrụ na onye echenji skuul echenji m onye a skuul mana nsogbu anyị nwere bụ increasement a na-eme na skuul ọ dị too much gọọmenti of Anambra steeti kwesịrị inebeli anya school niile ịbago nwekwu nke dị izu ha ka mgbakwa nke bụ eziokwu ego a na-akwụ n'ọrụ oyibo ejere ha n'ụgwọ ọnwa ana ibe a na-akwụ na skuul onye nwe mmadụ na-abụ ma ịtọ na skuul like mụ nwe mmadụ ụmụaka na-atọ nọ na skuul and ịbịa cheki ego a na-akwụ n'ozu ego ụgwọ akwụkwọ ụmụaka na-atọ ejedi eje so na gọọmenti kwesịrị itinye anya at least etu esi ahụ anya nnebete ndị ọrụ anya ya cheki kene.
My preparation start with my children first, because this is a new resumption entirely. So they're going to another class, they're going to meet another teachers. So I prepare their mind first. Okay, you meet a new teacher, you meet a new, do you understand? So let them know that they're going back to school, not to their former class, but to a new class. After preparing my children's mind, then I take them along with me to the market. For example, what are those things I need to buy? Maybe they need a socks or shoe. I carry them along, not just me doing that. So if I'm to pick a new socks for them, I carry them along. Go to the school before the school resumption date. What are the new school fees? What are their new things that they're bringing up? If they're actually going to pay for another textbook, find out the amount so that I can prepare on my own side concerning the amount. And now, knowing the situation of the country, you have to prepare financially as well.
Seems to be boiling down to finance. Most parents are complaining, one said that government should really intervene in the prices of school fees. I don't understand. Like I asked earlier on, who regulates what? You understand? Because you own a school, you have teachers that you need to pay. Do you now tell a child to pay 100,000 naira for a 3-term? Then how much would that child pay when he gets to the university? These are more what we're talking about this morning, talking about preparing for school and reopening. And one other person talked about reinvigorating into the mind of the child prior to the end of the holiday that you need to go back to school. And then we have two beautiful ladies in the house that will be talking more on this. And let me come to you, Uchenna. Regulation. I still maintain the fact that as a government person, it's not just issuing license to these people, even though they are capable, but there are certain things you need to regulate. Like I went to a primary school that had a football field, which is one more like recreation. After school, you go and recreate. But most of these private schools today don't even have a space for you to drive in and drop a child. Isn't it part of what a child should need in developing, after learning in school, you go out and recreate?
You see, before government will approve any private school, all these things must be put into consideration, thoroughly supervised. But the system, we are just in Nigeria, where you can fake anything. I'm telling you now, where you can fake anything, you can see something that is very dark in color, you will say that it is white. Some we go to the extent of borrowing field, borrowing buildings, borrowing this and that. Once they are approved, they will go back to their old self. That is where the problem
Then
lies.
that should be a period for you to now penalize or close such schools down, because you can't come and defraud, I mean, will I say, deceive the system in order to get approval, and then you now go and run in your mushroom environment. That is where I believe that stringent fines, penalties should come to such defaulters.
Once we get them, we penalize them.
Or you shut them down entirely.
Okay, let's talk about books. I remember when we were growing up, if you use a particular textbook, the person, your sister or your brother that is coming behind you, your siblings will still have to use it. But these days, the reverse is the case. Once you are using it, just know it's your property. Nobody can use it because once you come back again, you're going to buy a new set of the same. So if you come to some houses, you see like 5 different.
If you come to my house, not some houses. If you come to my house.
And now, some of these students, they are meant to carry a whole lot of books to school, to and fro. I remember we used to have lockers in school where even these textbooks and your books you used to, because there's one picture I saw of a child that just underwent surgery because of the weight. He always carry books at his back, going to school and coming back. Now, what's the use of these lockers? And then, why do we have so much textbooks, exercise books, and all this is this just Ofonio, one child? And at the end of the day, most of them cannot. When they come back, you even ask them what did they teach them in school. They don't even know.
I will tell you that you will find those things in private schools, not in government school. I'm telling you, and it's purely for business.
You mean the aspect of...
All those books, purely for business, I'm telling you. They will tell you that, apart from selling this book, where can we make money to pay our teachers, despite the school fees that the children pay? They sell those books so that they will get enough money. It's not that those books are most relevant or the children cannot do without them. It's, even when we are in analog, or what will I call it, at least we have English. If you have English textbook, mathematics textbook, and the Igbo textbook, these 3 are the most important. During our own time, who will give you even mathematics textbook? If your parents manage to buy English and maths, you know that you're among the richest. Then it's left for you to take your notes, go home and read them. But you will see some schools are offering 14 subjects, and every child will
14 subjects for, is it primary or secondary?
For primary, I'm talking about primary. Some schools now. And those 14 subjects, they will buy 3 different textbooks in one.
In one subject.
In one.
In one subject.
And it is a must. And we parents, we will go to that school and still buy them. And if you bring out the book at the end of the section, some of them have not been turned to up to 3 pages. You will see it as brand new as. If your child is careful enough to protect his or her exercise textbook, you will see that they're still new, which means they did not make use of them. The next section, you will still buy. You don't ask questions. You don't react against it. So it's purely for business.
Onyi, let's come back to you. Now, we've established that, of course, this is what is obtainable. And we are not, the parents are not the people that, they can change to some extent when they go to PTA meetings and talk about it, but it's now left for the school authority to listen and do what they want to do. But then again, with what we have now, I just mentioned the case of a guy that underwent his surgery, a student that underwent his surgery. Now, how do we, as parents, how do we overcome this challenge of children carrying so much books on their back? They are still young, and this could, even if they don't undergo the surgery right now, it could affect them in the future.
Some schools provide space for them to keep their textbooks.
Okay.
Some.
So what about people that don't have? What kind of bags do we need to give them? Do we need to buy apparized?
Or maybe the one that they'll be dragging,
yes,
trolley bags.
Unfortunately, I look at the whole system and I imagine how far we can go, adults and parents, because teachers, the school owners, they're all parents and grandparents. I look at the extent you can go in trying to accumulate wealth, in trying to make money, to the detriment of those children we are building, to the detriment of those children we are nurturing, just because we want to make money. Do you understand me? So I think it should start from the school, cutting down on those unnecessary textbooks. On those unnecessary textbooks. It's very, very important. Before we can talk about how to carry them around. You can provide table, this shelf for the primary schools, for the nursery schools. What of the ones in secondary school? I can tell you, my son in SS2, when he was in SS1, his textbooks cannot enter his class. The locker cannot contain the textbook. I'm telling you the truth. He now brought half, even more than half of the textbook at home. And his notebooks should be in the locker. And that will not stop him from carrying his bag to and fro. Because anytime, I don't know. I think there's need. One, as a parent, if you want to help your child, in the morning, it's going to be tedious. In the morning, you go through his bag, look at his timetable, check the ones that he won't be needing for the day, and then keep it at home. The next day again, before going to school, you check the ones he will need, the ones he will need for the day. Then change it again, put the ones he will need, and keep the other ones at home. Or better still, the schools can provide shelf. Each class, where it to be secured, with the name of each child on his or her own corner.
They're talking about schools that have space.
Schools that have space.
Space.
You see,
But you don't need to say about school. These are necessary tools that these children need in their class. You need your space. Each child should have a space.
A space.
But when it's not attainable, what do? We are talking about how to help your child, because you went to the school, you saw the environment, and you decided to enroll your child in the school, knowing fully well that spaces like that are not there. So you need to help your child, so that maybe the person will not fall sick, or you need to help. So what she's saying is that every morning you wake up, or if you can do it at night,
you can teach the child,
or teach the child if you know the subject you are doing for the next day. Go to school with those ones. Because people living even in boarding houses, they do that. They don't carry everything to the class. So once they know they are going to the class with, they lift it that morning and go to class with. Not necessarily carrying all the textbooks and going to school.
And another aspect of this textbook thing that is somehow of a concern to me, or somehow annoying, is the fact that the school will keep changing. You see one particular textbook from the same author, from the same publisher. By next year, what is in page 1 will now, the topic in page 1 will go to page 3. The one in page 3 will come to page 1. The same thing, the same alphabet, the same, just to confuse the children.
It's like you've done your research on this.
Oh my God. Honestly, I don't know, but most of the things I say out of experience and out of interaction with mothers. Do you understand? So I don't know, and that's because you want the parents to keep buying and buying and buying. When we are growing, just like Chidinma said, when we were in primary school, he would just buy the textbook for my elder sister. He will wrap it. What will tell you if the thing got turned in your own hand? Because you know that you keep passing it down to your next sibling. And that's how it goes. And just English, Maths, and Igbo. Igbo then used to have workbook. So the only thing you do is to buy the workbook for you. And there's this book they use for writing. Writing, just normal writing.
Yes, writing
for every class.
Exercise book.
Yes, that's all he will buy for you. And your exercise book, you inherit another person's textbook. But this time, oh my goodness!
If you have 5 children, you keep buying.
Every section.
Every
section you buy.
And unfortunately, the PT, once the school will start, the parents will be crying. Oh, the PTC. Once there is no PTC, the new PTC will be Nigeria now. The PC chairman and his committee, they will start singing the school song. They will team up with, because once you send
Okay, so now you're saying that the PTA, that's the Parents Teachers Association,
yes,
they now team up with the school management.
Yes, the executive.
Yes. Because in selling the book, the principal has a percentage. There's percentage to everybody in the
line.
And they will say, okay, this person is getting 10 naira, this is getting 5, this is getting 15 naira. You think, you know, calculate it, times it by
The
1,000, number of
students they have in this.
And the one that will go to PTC chairman and his committee. And next time when the parents come to talk, we forget it, you are looking into it.
So it's like a business venture now.
It's a business venture. That's why the thing has refused to leave the society, leave the school system. And unfortunately, it's heartbreaking.
Now, back to what we were talking about regulation. Now, I remember in school, if I were to be in a different public school, and Chidima was to be in a different public school, you were to be in a different public school, the curriculum is one for all.
Yes.
But it's not the same now, because you see this private school using a different publisher, author for English, and another school is using a different. So is there no way the government can regulate and say, okay, fine, for English, this is what we want. For literature, this is what we want.
I said it before that it is like that in government schools.
They still use
For
the
example,
same.
yes.
Yeah. But why
For
can't that-
example, now they have approved textbook
Yeah.
for each class. For each class in government school, they have their approved textbook. And if any school dare use anything outside that, once that person got caught, it will be a serious problem. All these things, you will see them in private schools.
They
now,
regulate the private
there-
schools to fall in
when
line.
it comes to curriculum like this, there may be 4 or 5 different authors writing about one particular thing. But when you review them, you can say that this is the most relevant to the curriculum and the scheme.
Yeah.
We now choose about 3. So that if we cannot get this, you can get this or get this. But these private schools owners, anything goes. It's just few of
I
them.
just wish that we had one of the private school owners seated here with us this morning, so
I'm
that they'll
telling
be
you.
hearing everything, because I know they have their own association.
I taught in private school for over 9 years. I taught in private school. They are not the same. All of them are not the same. There are exceptions, like there are some that are good.
Okay, well, we really don't have time. We have to go. But then
Unfortunately,
again,
what is fueling all this is this, like what I said, following one bandwagon. Everybody wants to put his or her own child
In private
in
school.
private school. No matter what the school
Is
is
going
doing,
on there.
all she wants that my child is in a private school.
Wearing
Whether
that uniform.
Wearing that university uniform of private school. Whether the private school is doing well or not. And sometimes you look at the fact that these private schools, they don't have, most of them, some of them,
Don't have anything to
they don't have
offer.
anything to offer. They don't have qualified teachers. They recruit secondary school girls. Most schools now, primary school, is government-owned primary school. Most of them don't even have NCE teachers again. Don't employ any, because see that when there's time for recruitment, the people that will come, that will apply with BSc, we outnumber the number they want to recruit. At the end of the day, they will recruit only the people, the graduates. Do you understand me? So, but because everybody wants, if only the parents will understand, go to public schools, there are qualified teachers who are dedicated, that want to teach the children. But because we want to follow the bandwagon, everybody wants to have his or her own child in private school. The thing is, the private schools, they're having field day on parents.
But you won't really bring parents, because some of these public schools, like you say, you go there, you see teacher having a case of buns and walnut snacks selling.
and you
Those
think
are distractions.
and you think it doesn't
was
happen
then,
in
it's
private
not
schools?
now.
Okay, well,
was then.
well,
It happens also in private schools. And another thing, it was then when teachers are being owned, salary, they are not being paid well. But now it's not there. Private schools are being monitored.
And these government schools, they are being monitored from time to time. They supervise them. They undergo a lot of trainings. They supervise them. So you cannot just go there and mess up anyhow.
all right, just before we
like
go,
that.
preparing for school reopening, we know that most of the schools, when the children we are leaving for vacation, that should be in July, they might need to do some renovation in school to make the place habitable and comfortable for the students. So how are they supposed to prepare? At least these students are coming back next week. I'm talking about both boarders and day students. How should they prepare and make the environment conducive and healthier for them as they resume school?
Some schools, they do organize training for their teachers, at least giving them new knowledge to prepare them. Once your teachers are prepared, the children are also prepared. So some even renovate their schools, paint them beautiful colors and pictures to attract the children and welcome them back to school. Some
Probably
even
bring new ones.
yes, to change the face of the environment, to be new, to be attractive to the children. So some of them, they will undergo trainings, like I said, in government school, I know. Once it is holidays like this, they will start sending their teachers from one training, one workshop, seminars, this, that. And that is the time they will now look into the textbook that they will use for as we are entering a new section now. They will look at the textbook. Now, which textbook are we going to use this time? The one that we used last. What effect is there? Now, what are we going to add? That is when they are going to prepare all these things. The head teachers get them prepared, the teachers get them prepared, the school, the curriculum, the scheme of work, and everything. I think they do all those things.
All right.
Government.
All right. From a parent, on the side of parents, and then the students themselves.
Okay. Another thing that schools need to do, there is need for, I always say it, aside preparing painting your environment, preparing getting the teachers, as in upgrading them or telling them what to do, as in trying to give them orientation. If it's school, like schools in the villages, schools in where there is bushes, please let there be fumigation. For those private schools, even public schools, it should be very, very important, fumigation. There's one that I just passed through one school recently, and the bushes there was something else. I was like, ah.
Okay, so cutting down the grass, making the environment clean and neat.
Because what you see that is, they will allow the children to come to school and start doing the cleaning. If it is possible, let them, you know what I'm talking about. If it's possible, let them just contract all those things. Fumigate the environment, make it conducive for them to come back. Then for parents, I think there's need for proper assessment. Before you push that child back to school at the school's resume, take time to discuss with your child. Look back at those challenges he had the previous session, the previous time. Look at where he had deficiency in his results, the results he came back from, and then perhaps discuss with the child or look for a way to help him as he's going into a new class. And then, aside, just find the challenges he had in school and see if you can, where you will come in. If it's a personal issue, know how to handle your child, know what to say. If you need going to school to meet teachers or to the authority of the school, go. And most importantly, if your child is complaining about that school, because you have a someone by a child who come back on holiday and be telling me, I don't want to go back to that school again, and you say, hey, Gachago, or that school, hey, Gachago, that's where your siblings are attending, so you must go back. So when your child comes back and says he or she doesn't want to return back to that school, this is time for you to find out.
Take your time and find out the reasons.
If you think there's genuine reason, sometimes they will not tell you.
Yeah.
But if you see that your child doesn't want to go back to that school, please see if you can make adjustment and change that child to another school. And secondly, the economy is getting too tight by the day. To help yourself as a parent, there are so many other, you're not in competition with anybody. Very, very important. Don't try to put unnecessary pressure on yourself because you want to measure up, because you still want to meet up or continue with that standard or that pace you've set. You borrowed my words. So, I think it's better for you guys if you cannot meet up with the school they are in. Now discuss with your children. Sometimes you think that these children don't understand. They understand. There can be better schools out there.
Okay.
With lower prices. Take them so that your own, you have your peace of mind. You can do it with ease. instead of worrying yourself much, and then it will backfire on those children.
All right,
Because
we
you
have to
provided
go.
what they want.
We have to go. We have to
Ah.
go. We really don't have time. I
Ah.
want to say a very big thank you to both of you for joining us. Unye Dokwe, thank you so much for being here. And Uchenna Wafo, thank you so much for joining
You're
us on the show this morning. Just like we have all said, that we all need to, work together to see that when our children go back to school, they are comfortable. And then for parents, you have a whole lot to do. You have to monitor the activities of your children. And people that give their children food to go to school, please try as much as possible to cook nutritious food for them. Some children, they complain. When you give them that cold noodles, when they get to school, they can't eat it, they'll just carry it back. Or when they get to school, they start eyeing another person's food. Please, let's try as much as possible to make the school environment conducive for our children. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Chidema Oranwa.
And I'm Ajulu Chukwaka. We're saying thank you so much.